Last Pint Productions presents the New Way podcast. The New Way contains adult content, and new episodes are released most Wednesdays. So back off, man. We're professionals. Listener discretion is advised.
So you were in Vietnam, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah?
Were you in the shit?
Yeah, I was in shit.
Last night, Darth Vader came down from planet Vulcan and told me that if I didn't take Lorraine out, that he'd melt my brain.
Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Everybody wants to be naked and famous. Everybody wants to be just like me. I'm naked.
Will you help teach me about this? What is it? A new way?
Hello and welcome once again to the New Way podcast, where we break down pop culture so you don't have to. I'm your host, Matt Schenk, and I am a real human being and not a robot. I am joined in the studio by someone who may or may not be a robot, Mr. Benjamin Scott Wilson.
I've been assimilated.
He has been assimilated, and joining us wearing, I'm not familiar with the artist, a late Bush, something on there. I can't tell what that is. Nick Santacroce.
No, I'm slunched over. It's a K. It's a K, Matt. You knew that.
Still not familiar.
You knew that. You knew that.
Still
it's
not
bit.
familiar.
It's a bit.
Still not familiar.
That's what you're saying. It's a bit.
How Nick's already against the AI to let them know this is not real. This is a bit. We can't, lest they think this is a real life thing. Prompt that's happening.
No. This sparkling comedic brilliance is exactly the reason why AI will never replace us.
Because AI never tells you to shut up and stop doing a bit.
No, it does not. It just fuels your desire to make a bit.
It is missing the negativity that we bring and the derision for one another that we exhibit on this podcast. Could never do
caustic,
this.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes I do wonder if we're too idiosyncratic for AI, but I don't know. What does the algorithm say?
What is that? What is the name of the comic?
Idiosyncratic routine.
It's in Chasing Amy, right? That she writes the comic Idiosyncratic. I love
you
that's
fucker.
So good. You fucker. You hit me and that's it. Welcome.
I think that was a spoof of Love and Rockets.
Maybe. I don't know.
My favorite. You ever read Love and Rockets, Benny?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Well,
good read.
Well, shut that one down.
It was made by a human.
I love that Nick provides nothing. You guys heard about this? Nope. Okay, well, fuck you.
Sorry.
I'm like Jay Leno doing his monologue. You guys hear about this? Know about this? Hear about this?
Except that you just stop cold when like, nope, no one. Okay, well, we're not going to talk about that. It's great. Welcome back.
Well, I'd like you to be part of the conversation, you know?
Well, sometimes I like to
If you don't know Love and Rockets, you don't know Love and Rockets. We'll move on. I'll keep this moving.
You could educate us on what Love and Rockets is. God damn it. We're something in the air tonight, kids. That is for sure. Thank you so much for tuning in to The New Way. I love that I say tuning in every time.
And not tuning out. We should be thanking people. Just thank you for not tuning out.
Thank you for still. You're 2.5 minutes in and you're still with us. God bless you. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. We're going to be back probably with a few more episodes here and there as we have more time permitting here to record in the next coming summer months. But in the meantime, what's been going on with you gentlemen? Anything exciting to share? Anything boring to share? What do we have?
You really going to ask me that question?
It's a loaded question, Ben.
That is a loaded question, man.
Whatever you want to share, Ben, is fine.
I just found out that for new cancer treatment, I have to travel to Houston roughly, and I'm talking literally, 33 times this year.
That is a lot of times to be in Texas.
And over the course of the rest of the year. I'm not talking about the next calendar year.
Yes.
I'm talking about from now until December.
Now, this is part of an experimental treatment to turn you into a conservative, correct?
How did you know?
See if it'll stick, because they figure you're a pretty good candidate. You're from Tennessee. They're like, so there's some of it's baked in there. Like they're like, we could probably turn him. Just a couple little procedures, and he's good to go.
Yeah.
Just a little
like
bit of the
a
brain.
full frontal lobotomy.
Yeah, it's just a couple little nicks out of the old cranium there, and I think you're good to go.
Yeah, all they do is they shave a couple millimeters off my dick every time I go off there. That's what happens.
It's still leaving a lot of dick, Ben. I think maybe we're gonna have to go a little bit more drastic.
Ben will have to make do with 14 inches by the end of the year.
This is a really sad year for Ben, where he goes from 16 inches to 14 inches. He won't really know how to work. He'll have to retrain his whole life and how to pee and everything on there, but it's gonna be rough.
Can I say something completely inappropriate that was said in the car yesterday morning by my daughter?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it wasn't inappropriate on her part, but it was inappropriate by how my wife and I took it because we immediately started laughing. Was that my wife was picking up subs for the girls. They had a choir concert last night where they only had a short amount of time.
What did Margot say now?
Well, she was like, my sub wasn't big enough. And she was like, yeah, your sub was fine. It's what we always get you. She's like, no, I need like the full big sub. I need a 12-inch sub. And we're like, we always get you a 6, we just cut it in half. She's like, 6 isn't big enough. 12 is the only thing that'll fill me up. And Beth and I just absolutely lost our shit.
No. This is terrible. Everything
It's
is
true.
terrible.
It's true though. It's true.
So, anyway.
I mean, even the cookies are a foot long now.
Out of the mouths of babes. Yes, that is quite
clearly,
something.
clearly quite innocent on her part. And then my wife and I are just like, we're terrible people.
Well, I have to ask you guys. I have not had a chance to tune into it, although I am very excited. And Ben also let me know. I thought it was one that was being rolled out in pieces, so I usually like to wait so I can binge. So I have not started Fallout, but I'm hearing nothing but good things. You gentlemen started it. Yeah, you guys started it. What is your capsule review so far?
It's excellent.
Don't give me that. I'm a busy.
Well, it's less of a capsule and more of a vault. Technically. Just saying. But you wouldn't know because you didn't see it.
I played the first 15 minutes while Ben eagerly watched me play the first 15 minutes of it and could barely contain his squeals of joy once many years ago when I was in my old apartment. So he bought me the game at like a discount rack at Best Buy, brought it to the house, and sat down Clockwork Orange style, would not let me leave until I played the 15 minutes.
So he could be brought out of the womb by Liam Neeson, of course, in Fallout 3.
And
come on.
And I played the first 15 minutes and I actually enjoyed it, and I never followed up.
That was like me trying to explain the rules to football to my mother, and she just sat there, a captive audience.
Yeah. It was good. I kept playing, and Ben
She's
just
like,
kept,
I like it. I like football. I think it's fun.
Ben just kept looking at me and be like, fucking amazing, right? And I was like, yeah, it's very good. It's very good. Like, do we ever leave the vault?
It's very, very good.
It was a lot. Jesus. But yeah, I am super excited to watch it.
I would like Benny to take the lead on the impressions here.
No, I would just say, I mean, I'm just in awe it exists in the iteration that it actually is. Because it's so beholden.
Good qualifier. A show based on a video game getting produced isn't exactly a white whale these days.
Well, no,
money grabs.
I'm saying I can't believe it exists. Like how the show operates with its characters and with its development. It feels
how the crew is fed.
How the crew is fed by one Patrick Barrett. But,
yes.
But I just find it fascinating that it was not made the way it was made, and it's so wonderful. It feels like I'm watching a new game of Fallout, which is awesome. You know?
Yeah, I get. I honestly, to a lesser extent, with Last of Us, I really feel like if I sat my parents down and forced them to watch this series, they would know what it's like to play the game. They would. It would be very familiar if they fired up the game and then watched me play.
Right.
And not in an egregious way. And I've said, and again, going back to Last of Us and Fallout, the video game pipeline adaptation curse is officially dead with Fallout and Last of Us 2. Like truly, I think it's turned a corner. It'll change how people adapt video games, and we might we might be entering kind of a golden age now that they've created these templates because, like, not only does it stand on its own merits, but like if you're watching the old Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo Mario Brothers,
which is a fucking masterpiece, and you can shut your mouth right now.
Which is great, and by itself. But whenever they try to explain away mushrooms or things that are canon in the game, it's so clunky, and you ask yourself, why is it there? But with Fallout, like, one of the key mechanics is like lock picking, and obviously they're not going to throw a lot of that in this show. But another thing that you have to do over and over again, this monotonous task that is core to the experience of playing Fallout, is hacking a computer screen that looks a certain way. It looks like that old Commodore 64. And you find code words and you try to find the right one to unlock a file, which then will reveal this part of the story. And you only get that part of the story if you were able to hack the module. Well, that happens in a practical way in the show that doesn't feel like a wink and a nod.
No, actually, it makes sense.
Guess what? It makes sense in world and is yet completely 100% authentic from look to mechanics to what players experience.
Well, and what I would say is what I find so much. Here's the thing: I love The Last of Us. I think The Last of Us is great. The Last of Us is the game. I mean, there's not a whole lot of diversion from that narrative. Fallout is entirely original. It's entirely new characters, entirely new story. We've never met any of these people before, but it's the world that feels familiar to the gamers, and I think that's why it's so popular. Is because it's something completely different than an adaptation. This is a completely new story in a lived-in universe.
Well, Naughty Dog, their games, Last of Us, is very narrative based. It is all about the story with some slick game mechanics, right? But it is a truly a immersive story.
It's well written. Yeah,
it's well made, but the success relies on the story of Last of Us.
100%.
Whereas Fallout is really just a little bit of plot and about 1,000 fetch quests along the way where you meet unsavory characters and funny Easter eggs.
And it's also funny as shit. I mean, that's the thing, is Fallout's funny as shit, and the show is funny as shit. But,
dark comedy, lots of violence, but with a silver tongue.
Right. And I mean, watching especially the first couple of episodes with that, I was just laughing and like clapping and like, I was like, this exists.
I wish I could be there.
We live in a world where this exists. And I haven't finished it yet. I'm only through 5 episodes because I can't binge shows like that. But I'm hoping to get home early enough tonight to watch one. So
all right. Hint received. Wrap it up.
Right.
I mean,
so the show's over.
Because I don't.
The only thing I didn't like about it is that I couldn't watch it with you. That's like the only thing I don't like. That would have made it better, and it's the only thing that I feel like really would have made it much better.
I think also that we do need to respect the shoulders they stood on. And in the 90s, we all wanted to know, does Mario fuck? And that movie let us know Mario fucks. Like, Mario is a sexual being. We did not know that before that. In fact, outside of that movie, we don't know that he has genitalia at all. But we know that he fucks because of that movie, which is wonderful.
Also, today I was reminded that canonically Goofy has most likely fucked Jessica Rabbit.
I'm sorry, what?
All right, never mind.
It's a line in the movie. She used to date Goofy. It's a throwaway line.
Oh, yeah,
that
that's
I kind of
right.
forgot about.
Do you think she's fucking Roger, though? They're making patty cake. She's not fucking Goofy. She can't fuck Goofy. It's legally...
I think it's
she
safe.
Can't.
I think it's safe to assume that Jessica Rabbit is a sexual being. Now, moving on, Max, where did Max come from? We don't know of anyone else.
Another goof. It's
reliably...
not. It's not legally... Okay.
All right.
We're about to go somewhere.
Okay, sorry. Okay, listen. I'm sorry I got off tangent. I'm just going back really quickly. The difference between Last of Us and Fallout. David Benioff and wife.
Oh, God almighty.
They could adapt Last of Us, right? But they'd never be able to adapt Fallout because there's not a lot of source material plot to draw from. The creators of Fallout have fleshed out this world. They're like the proto-men bare bones plot, and they flesh out this world, in a lot of ways even better than the game. And it's crazy how much fun I've been having with it and how much I like it, and like how much we haven't seen yet that are like core to the game, characters and weapons and things that I know are gonna eventually make their way in, and they haven't even hinted at yet. So the world is so large, they can go anywhere with the show if it really finds its footing and is successful and keeps.
Well, I mean,
getting
they've already been greenlit for his second season.
hell yeah.
But seriously though, Goofy is essentially a slow adult, right? So he can only procreate with it. He can't consent to sexual intercourse unless it's with another slow adult, and Jessica Rabbit is not a slow adult.
That's not true. He's one of the best he's one of the best.
Are you saying
fathers.
that slow adults can't be good fathers? I'm not saying that. I'm saying he is a
I don't think he's slow.
Uh,
He's goofy, motherfucker. He's not slow.
First of all, you can't say that. It's 2024, Nick. Just come on. You can't say that about him.
And also, by the way, a goof isn't a species, okay? He's a dog.
He's a goof.
He's a dog.
No, Pluto is a dog. Goofy's a goof.
God damn it.
Oh.
Anyway.
And he fucked Jessica Rabbit.
He
most
did
likely.
not.
Anyways, Matt, how's ragtime going?
It's going great.
Now it's not going to go great because every time he's on stage, he's going to be thinking about goofy fucking Jessica Rabbit, and all the words are going to go blank.
No.
And it's just her being like, "Goof me so hard, goof me, goof
No,
me,
no,
goof me, goof me."
I was gonna say.
Goofy is not a Smurf. It's not to interchange.
Also, I hate to
It's not a
break it to
word.
you, Roger, also slow adult. She's got a type, Nick. I'm just saying, she's a predator. She's a predator. She's
She
like
likes
that.
the goofy characters.
Who is
They're
that?
not slow.
Who is that hot school teacher that was like hooking up with the student? She's like that. She's like got a type. Like she's.
Oh, which one? There've only been like a
Well,
thousand.
the original, the OG, the blonde one back in the.
Are you saying she's a predator?
Yes, 100% yes.
They're not slow. They're just silly. She likes funny. In the movies, she doesn't care about looks. She likes funny guys.
He doesn't know he can slip out of the cuffs.
All right, let's move on.
I don't want you to take this from me. When I was little, the fact that Jessica Rabbit only wanted someone who was funny and had nothing to do with how tall they were or how good looking they were, it sustained me. It got me through high school. Okay, don't take this away from me. They're goofy.
But Nick, you're not a goof. You're just funny.
I'm a human being. And that is not like what a goof is. A goof is a word. It's not a classification.
He's full. He's 100% goof. Max,
is this how you felt with our thigh conversation?
Max is potentially
gaslighting me.
Max might be part goof. He's maybe not full goof based on your.
Goof is not a species. You're just doing this to piss me off.
I want that drop. Goof is not a species. So angry. Yeah, I am finishing up.
The only thing that could poke holes. The only thing that could poke holes in this is the goof troop. A troop. It does imply as a troop of goofs.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's a species.
Only goofs allowed. 4 goofs by goofs. That's it. I'm telling you.
So they sell Goof Scout cookies?
I will say originally in Ragtime there was a 4th group and it was Goofs. That we had the Immigrants and we had the Harlem ensemble and the New Rochelle, and then there was Goofs. But they're like,
Goof Mania?
People aren't ready for this. So they decided to hold back on that one. But no, I did tell Ben so we've been running Ragtime for a couple weekends. We have our final weekend this weekend. By the time you listen to this, we will be closed and my long nightmare will be over. But I have a stupid amount of costume changes in the show. I have 13 costume changes in Act 1. I have 4 in Act 2.
Jesus.
I have
like Lady Gaga.
I have an 8-second costume change. I have a bunch of 30-second costume change. It's a nightmare. But the first night I've been given all of my.
How do you do a full costume change in 8 seconds? You just rip the merkin off real fast, or what do you do?
If you had any idea about how close you are to what happens to me during this one, but I do a number where I'm dressed as a juror with I have this white wig and this black and white striped shirt and a robe, and I rip the shirt. I have a tearaway shirt, like a Velcro shirt. I rip that and the robe off. I rip my wig off. I unfold a vest that's tucked up underneath all of that. I put on a press hat and I grab a pencil and pad of paper and I run out to say 2 lines on stage.
Oh my
then
God.
I run off. Then I have 30 seconds to do a full change where I have to put pants, jacket, glasses, hat, a cane. I walk back on as grandfather. I have 1 line. It's a banger. I mean, it's a good one. It gets a laugh. I walk off stage, now the other direction. I take all of that off. I dress up like a Ellis Island guard. I carry a gate out. I quickly run off stage for that. I dress up like JP Morgan, climb a ladder and get up on a platform to sing 16 bars of a song as JP Morgan, climb back down the ladder, take that shit off, back into the guard outfit. Then I come out to say a really racist line to one of the immigrants and I walk off stage.
Wonderful.
That is,
Wow.
I literally just ping pong back across the stage.
So you start as a juror, and then you.
Oh,
you
this is my that's my 4th costume change in the show. I've already changed multiple times before.
Right. So you start as a juror, and then you're
Yes.
rushed out of the courtroom, and you have to keep changing your identity. That's like the Trump jurors getting doxxed by Fox.
It's very close. It's very similar. It's to the point where the people that have come to see me that have been very honest about, because like some people are like it's like you're pulling the costume change off is fine, but then other people, and this was the same thing our costumer said the first night they gave me the costumes. Jill, our costumer, goes, "Is there not anyone else in the show that can say some of these fucking lines?" And I was like, I could be. I don't know what's happening. But so the first night I was
And Matt's
given,
like, I fought for that rude immigrant line.
I sure didn't fucking fight for. I have tried to give up any of these things, but the director doesn't like me so much, so I've been kind of tortured with it. But
Impossible.
the first night that I got all of the costumes, no one else was really running costumes. I'm like, I've got to figure out how to do this. It was Tech Week. We were opening in a few days, so we also during the same time had a Palm Beach Post photographer that's been cataloging the show, taking all of these like behind the scenes photos during this rehearsal. So literally after the costume changes I just told you there, when I'm coming back down as JP Morgan off of the thing, and I go running to stage left where my I have like a station for myself to like dress, and I just start ripping shit off, and I am sweating so profusely. And I literally look up as I'm putting a cop shirt on, and this guy's going, and I just looked up like, please God, fucking, this can't be the thing that appears in the newspaper. Sure enough, it's in the newspaper, and the look on my face is like, kill me now, fucking kill me now.
Actually,
I fucking hate this.
To me, I feel like there's a Photoshop opportunity because it's kind of like one of those strained, sweaty, looking up at the sky O faces.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can do something with that.
I will send this out to our
What
fans.
publication was that in?
The Palm Beach Post. It's a video journal of things. I'll save Nick. I'll save you the time. I'm going to send you the photo and the zoomed in.
Okay.
don't worry about it. Please,
I found it. I bookmarked it.
please Photoshop it. So yeah, it's been a very interesting show, but it is. Yeah, I've never had more costume changes in my life.
On the the plus side, now whenever Ben's girls complain about a single costume change, Uncle
Damn
Matt
right.
can chime in with a
Can
familiar
put them in
refrain.
their place.
Back in my day.
That's right. They don't know how good they have it.
They don't know.
I would love to get us started in our topic because I have a bunch of things to play for us on the topic tonight. Unless anyone else has anything else to get into here. Anybody?
God,
Any
no, let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm so.
I have such complicated feelings
I know.
about this.
That's
and
why I wanted to do this.
It sucks. It kind of sucks.
I specifically wanted to do this because I love how conflicted Nick is going to be this entire podcast.
I'm pretty indifferent on it. I don't know. Maybe I'm right in the middle.
I think you are because I'm way too excited and I'll explain why. So our topic is artificial intelligence. Obviously, we're talking about the Spielberg movie from 1999.
Well, Kubrick did half of it. Okay?
Yeah, part of that.
It was 2001.
Or 2001, sorry. And this is the update of Pinocchio, as we all know, and not at all a controversial ending for people. People loved the ending universally, much
I wish
like
there's
the
a
ending
little
of
more.
Lost.
I want a little more Jude Law sex bot. Just a little more.
Whoa. Did like that sex bot. That was good
One
stuff.
more.
So the thing that turned the corner for
Ooh,
me.
I just thought of a great sex tape. The Ana de Armas AI from Blade Runner 2049 and Jude Law's sex bot from AI.
Yeah.
You think they would have gotten along?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think they would.
Well,
Or Jude Law Sexbot and Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Or
Oh my
apparently
God.
Jude Law Sexbot and anyone. Jude Law Sexbot and Nick. I'll watch that. I will watch Jude Law Sexbot fuck anything.
And Goofy.
I watch him fuck Goofy. Because he's a robot, it's okay. Because he's not a human, it's okay. He's not.
I don't like them interspecies couples, like them robots and them goofs.
Spin. I know the internet's got it somewhere. We joke about what is the uncanny valley. What is the rule 49, right?
Or
34. It's rule 34.
Or we can just say AI, Jude Law, Sexbot, fucking Goofy, and put that into AI. And
Oh yeah.
We'll know.
It'll
God.
be. Oh,
I'm
God,
doing it right
now.
now.
Oh no. So, part of what spurred the want for this podcast is I went down the rabbit hole and I got really, really just deep into using AI for music parodies. And what surprised me a lot was how much it could interpolate the prompts I was giving it in a very savvy way.
I knew that's what was going to get you. I saw this one TikTok that I sent you and now regret sending to you because the prompt was just descriptive enough, but it almost intuitively got this TikToker's like sense of humor.
Yeah.
It almost intuitively read through the prompt and created this like very on-brand song. And I forgot what it was about. It was about like eating potato chips or something.
Yeah, I didn't even like. I didn't get that. That honestly, I was kind of interested in what it could do. But for me, there are two things it does that I find infuriatingly wonderful. One is its song titles are almost universally perfect. Like it comes up with song titles that are so fucking on the nose good that I'm insanely jealous. I in a million
never
years
mattered. Private Cloud.
I would never figure it out. But I did.
Those are old Gadwell Lane classics for those of you.
I did put together. So I put together some fun songs. Well, I want to bring our audience into some of the ones I've already shared with you. One of the things I was fascinated with was could it write a New Way podcast theme song so that we can go through our backlog that is unsellable and we can't advertise on because it's playing Presidents of USA. And could I go back and replace all of the intros to our show with a brand new thing? And we've got a few on here. So, and I want you guys to let us know when you talk to us outside of the show, which of these do you like? And I'm going to put a few of them on here. There's one you have not heard yet, but let's do.
Have you put the Wet Hot American Summer drops?
I have not. I have not been able to figure out how to do that one. But let's do. This is just about us breaking down pop culture. So let's play this one.
Every week we gather around to hear opinions, smart and sound. Matt hates the Matrix, Ben hates Nolan, Nick hates Thrones, but we keep on rolling.
Hate who?
Thrones.
They break it down, culture and more. All the shows and movies we adore. From Hollywood to indie scene with Matt, Ben, and Nick, it's a visual dream. Breaking down all we dislike. The New Way podcast, we're taking flight from the Matrix to Thrones and everything between. We're breaking down culture so you don't have to. Oh yeah. We're breaking down culture so you don't have to. Oh yeah.
That one just goes on to repeat. But
I feel like I'm waiting for my drink in an all-inclusive boomer cruise.
Well, I also love that, like, so that one I fed in the negative side, and I love that they made a song about like this. Our podcast is about the shit you hate. It's not about us breaking down good things. It's like, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna let you know about all the things you fucking hate, which is maybe
Talking
the most
about
dead on.
cats for the 47th time.
It is kind of like the Barry Gibb talk show
There are,
version.
I would say there are some episodes of the show where we just talk about things people hate.
I think it's dead on. So here's another. This is the more positive side of us breaking down pop culture.
These are too long.
This is their Weezer fucking. I also love it. Misgendered Nick. So I did one today that you guys have not heard yet that the cleverness in this one is so fucking good, but I wanted to find out, and so this one's called Confused in the New Wave. And I wanted to do one about how our podcast is confused with the term new wave and not new way podcast. And holy shit, if it didn't
I am not confused.
Nail it.
Mac loves musicals, dancing on the stage, and Ninja Turtles. He's gotta save the day, and bands and films from days long gone by. But the New Wave podcast got him wondering why. In a world of pop culture, they hit the mic, talking about movies, music, and what's inside. They name themselves New Wave. In a twist, now they're caught up in a whole new way. They exist.
God.
80s vibes and beats, neon lights, the New Wave podcast, trying to get it right, but the listeners think they're all about the sound. It's a mix-up, they can't seem to turn it around.
The whole fucking, everyone's confused about
That's
new
pretty
wave,
good.
right? It's fucking perfect. And that's what infuriates me about it. But Nick, I didn't stop there because I wanted.
That's
I know
what infuriates you about it?
I wanted to make sure that I made this podcast as fun as possible for you. So I fed in a few more things from the new way that our fans love, and this one's very near and dear to your heart. This is called "Lost in the Finale."
In the darkness, we wait for a show to captivate. Lost in the wilderness, we roam, searching for a place called home. On that island, fate entwined, characters we grew to find, puzzles, mysteries, secrets untold. The journey, a story worth to behold. In the final act, they left us all with questions that still haunt the fall. Misunderstood, a bitter pill to swallow, but the truth only few chose to follow.
Oh, wait, that's when it does end early. So I was a little upset that one didn't. I told it to defend the Lost finale, but it actually took Ben and my side. That was didn't get a lot of answers on it, but it's really good.
Benjamin Linus was doing the press tour for Fallout, and he goes, I like that ending. He got real contentious, and he started defending it.
Of course,
I got to send this to Matt.
Of course.
Okay, but can I just say one thing here, and we'll continue up here. I think this is a great use case for this technology, because here are the three creatives of the podcast. Of course, the lion's share goes to Matt with the producing and everything, right? But this isn't taking jobs away from anyone.
Sure.
This is for fun. We are creating this for our podcast that we're not even making any money off of. This is a great use case for this. But when they make Late Night with the Devil 2 and they need a hit soundtrack for the credits,
sure,
that's where it just gets absolutely scary, because it's good now. Imagine how good music AI is going to be in a year.
Well, and
it's that quantum leap from the generation,
Once we get past doing just the fuck around shit here, which is just for fun, I do want to get into that discussion, because I think there is a collaborative faction of this that could be amazing. And I also feel, based on, obviously this is going to get better at what it does. I still think for it to be really fucking good, it's going to always need some kind of human element involved in it. And I think that's where the future of making this a really interesting thing could be. But I did want to, this one is for Ryan, our super fan Ryan out there. And this one is called Big Deal. I will say also, it made a secondary version that is clearly the better, like, instrumental version, but it didn't put the lyrics to it. It just did a fucking song, and I'm really upset because I think it could have been better. But I asked it to do a Randy Newman esque version, and so here's what the one without lyrics sounded like. And not a fucking lyric. I now want to take the lyrics that they wrote and apply it to that one with Nick doing Randy Newman.
Send that to me, and I'll do vocals. This is perfect marriage.
This is how
AI.
we make this work. So, but here is the actual song it made, which is, I swear to God, I almost shit myself. I laughed so hard at this.
In the movie Big, there's a question we must face. Did Tom Hanks get busy, leave no trace? Did he seal the deal, have a little fun? Well, let's explore the answer one by one. He was a kid in a grown man's body, I'll admit.
Oh, Jesus.
That doesn't mean he couldn't handle it. With a heart of innocence and mind so pure, did he venture into love's allure?
Self.
Now
that sounds like Matt Mahaffey.
The flick was a delight, but let's not forget, friends, it was rated PG, right? So we're left to wonder, use our imagination. Did he really make a love connection?
Oh my
That's
God.
all it is. And I literally
God.
wrote Randy Newman's song about whether or not Tom Hanks had sex in Big. That's all I gave it. Everything else it did on its own.
And it just intuitively made it Matt Mahaffey singing a Randy Newman song about
perfect.
Big.
Wow. I also, for the podcast as well, fed in our newest mascot for the podcast, courtesy of JB Wing. And this is called the Grand Dame's Mockery.
In the spotlight, she takes her stance. Betty Fuckley, queen of chance, with a voice that pierces through the night. She captivates with all her might. But fame, it faded,
Jesus.
took its toll. Now she seeks a different role, from the stage to the silver screen. She chases thrills, a fading dream. The Grand Dame's mockery unfolds, a tale of bitterness. She wants control, but now she's left with nothing but a sneer, playing the old witch, her only sphere. Her only sphere.
Very Kate Bush, actually, a little bit.
No, it is not. No, it is
No,
not.
it's not.
Not even close, but nice try.
Anyway,
now, Matt,
yeah.
you know how I know how many you must have ran through this fucking algorithm? The one thing AI doesn't really do well.
Musicals.
Well, no. Well,
It
I
doesn't.
tried that too. It's not great, but when it goes into the chorus,
Yeah.
the breaking up the choruses from the verse,
Yeah.
it hasn't quite figured that out yet. But eventually, it'll get one that, like, every 10 tries, it'll just nail it. So I can only imagine how many times I ran that through.
I promise you, Nick, I will show you I have my whole history on there. I didn't. I ran
Okay,
each one
that's
of these
pretty good.
once, and they give you two options each time you run it, and I go between the
Yeah.
two. But I swear to
Now,
God, I did not
Matt-
rerun any of these.
Matt, you didn't subscribe, did you? Please tell me you didn't subscribe.
Anyway, I did do one last
God
thing.
damn, Matt, listen, all I did was I made 5 emails, and I have 500
Matt, you're
credits on
joining them.
each.
Nick,
do
I
not
spent
spend money on
Nick, I
this.
spent $8, and I can make 5,000 songs, and that's worth my time.
Listen, I get 500 credits every couple days because I have 5
You
email
get 50
addresses
credits
connected
Yeah,
to it.
Okay. Anyway, that's
all
a lot.
you need. Don't give them any money.
Nick, my
Don't give 'em any money.
time is worth the $8 I'm spending to not have to do that shit. This is
It's
just for
effortless.
fun. No, it's not.
Get a refund.
So speaking of effortless, the last thing I ran through, because this is the true test of AI, right? Is can it do what we do on the new way? How do we build our audience of literally tens of listeners each episode, dwindling sometimes, but with our musical song parody episodes? So I thought, well, I mean, it can do all of these other things, but could it write shrimp hands?
Oh no,
We don't know.
Don't
Let's
do it.
find out.
You didn't do it, did you?
Jumping in the water, shrimping by the sea. My hands so they be shaking like a dance with glee. Feeling the rhythm, moving to the beat. Shrimp in my hands. Oh, they be quite a treat. Dancing in the waves, shrimp in hands so tight. Catching all them critters, ain't nothing I can't fight. With a flick of my wrist, I grab them real fast. Shrimp in hands so quick, they never seem to last. Shrimping all day.
All right, so that's a 0 out of 0 out of 1.
Damn it! It was just getting good. Shrimping all day.
That's a 0 out of 3
God
so
damn it.
far.
That's my favorite one so far.
So
That's the only one I didn't want you to turn off.
so now I wanted to find out, could it do an Interview with the Vampire musical?
Hey, listen. That is a pretty good feat. Shrimping ain't easy.
The fact that it interpreted as shrimping made me laugh so hard. But here is there. So I wanted to do. Can it do an emo Interview with a Vampire? And
Yes, it can.
In the dead of night, the moon shines bright. Feel chill all through my spine. Interview with the vampire. I can't decline. Lost in the darkness, trapped in its eyes. His eyes pierce through like a stake to my heart. Whispers of secrets tear me apart. He offers immortality, forbidden star, but the cost is my soul. Torn apart, a haunting melody echoes through the air. His words like venom, I can't help but stare. Embracing the night, forgetting to care. Caught in the web of a vampire's
fine. It is no. I'm just a vampire. I'm gonna say, not so.
They
much.
need Rick Rubin to do like a producing pass so you could actually understand the lyrics.
Yeah,
without the video prompt.
and I've read the lyrics along with it. There's a good stake through the heart line. Other than that, it's pretty shitty. So then I said, could it do a musical of basketball? And this is what it came up with.
Jump on the court. We got skills that impress, playing basketball. We're the best
Chenoweth?
of the best, swishing and dunking. Nothing can stop us now. Ain't no movie like it. Gonna
True.
make you say wow. Matt and Trey, they brought the game to life. Their comedy and music cut like a knife. Basketball's the name. It's insane and wild. A parody film that'll have you smiling like a child.
And I should have been gone.
Harvard meets basketball. Basketball.
Oh, we get it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I
We
say
understand
I'm
what
just-
it is, AI.
I feel like I'm just getting depressed.
I'm just
See,
gonna
now you care. Now you care.
No, well, so I'm proving we could have taken each of one of our musical assignments and run it through this and used it to maybe make some shit, but none of these are as good as what we put together for our actual musicals. So I still feel like AI is not necessarily the villain it's made out to be, but I have a bigger question for you guys that this is sort of fascinating to me. How in all of sci-fi history, we've been talking about the machines taking over for years and years and years. We've talked about Skynet and AI and all these things. Why did we never ever, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe you guys know more sci-fi than I do, has there been a fucking story about sci-fi taking over the arts? Of taking over this shit?
Philip K. Dick, bro?
Yeah, tell me the piece that Philip K. Dick about making song parodies. Like, it was never the fear that was put out to us. Right?
Well, you didn't read Electric Symphony by Philip K. Dick.
No.
I'm joking. I made that up.
AI wrote that, didn't it? God damn it.
Well, you know, I'm actually trying to think if there was something. I guess like maybe the closest thing that I can think of off the top of my head is Santa Claus the movie, where Dudley Moore wants to make the toys by hand, but then they go to the assembly line that just makes the quick, shoddy John Lithgow toys.
But that's calmer. Like what's funny to me is that we have this wealth of futuristic things. We watch Star Trek make computers that could react to you, that could be doctors, that could be other things. They do science, they do calculations, all that shit.
I mean, my only thought is Star Trek, because they have the whole. There is the whole thing, of course, with when Dana gets the emotion.
Yes.
And so there is a whole thing about like where he is like into the arts and he's painting and things along those lines. And then there's some interesting conversations and more recent stuff like shows like Ex Machina when we're talking about Turing tests.
Yeah.
And like what does it take to cross that line? Like where are we getting into consciousness? So yeah, and there hasn't been a movie or a show specifically about
or
the
a
arts.
book. Yeah, it's such a weird.
Yeah.
It's just funny to me that we were really myopic about all of our fears were like robots taking over all of the rudimentary things and assembly line kind of stuff or brute force, but it was never like, oh, they're going to become like they're going to write a book better than us that's going to sell. Or
the arts is more myopic, right?
Sure.
Think about the percentage of creatives as opposed to every other type of job, and like with medical with doctors and things, a life or death component where we think, how can technology help us save lives, right? But when you think about it, there's no fear of the arts. That's not something that is sinister until it all of a sudden sneaks up on you, and you wake up one day and see a TikTok and realize that a website can create a ska song about whether or not Goofy had sex with Jessica Rabbit. That song is in your inbox, by the way, Matt. I made it while we were talking. If you want to load it up, but seriously, like what's scary about the arts? I think people, when there was the strike, right? The strikes. I think people didn't really understand. Oh, what's the big deal? It's taken for granted in a lot of ways how many people come together to make a show, right? And it's taken for granted, and it's not something that's pressing, like saving lives or warfare. But like when it's taken away from you, I feel very threatened.
It's taking jobs. It's taking jobs away from people. I mean, it's legitimately already has, and that's the whole thing where it's like, oh no, sorry, the entire intro to Secret Invasion actually was AI.
And unreal. And then see that's inconscionable because that's Disney we're talking about. Okay, that's not the New Wave podcast. That is Disney that has more money than God, and they outsourced that intro to AI. Right? There's a Netflix documentary that just got caught using AI without disclosing it. I mentioned Late Night with the Devil. You know, got into hot water, and that's a different animal, right?
Did you see what Garland did with Civil War? By the way,
yes, all the posters are AI.
Well, no, but it's interesting because there's a lot of discussion about it right now. One is that it's very clearly, obviously meant to be AI in the terms of what the movie is about, to be a misinformation campaign. That's why they get progressively more obvious, where it's like, okay, this is a thing, this thing. Oh, now there's this giant swan in the lake. Oh, now we have cars that have 2 trunks and 3 doors and all that stuff on there. And then someone legitimately, and no one knows for sure, and it's just, it's conjecture at this point, but someone thinks that Garland actually set up a lot of those shots and then just sweetened them with CGI to make them actual AI shit, and they're not actually AI produced. They're meant to look like AI produced, which is
okay. That's
fucking
clever.
crazy.
That's a little more clever, and it's a little more,
nuanced,
a little different, right? But I like to go back to Late Night with the Devil, right, which is a independent horror film, the type of movie that you hope audiences are going to support.
Almost unanimously praised horror film.
Absolutely. And like when a movie like that comes along, it's like clearly a labor of love that doesn't have the budget that Disney has to produce, and then it starts getting rave reviews and it does well. That's a huge success story. Those are the movies that we need to support. Then it comes out that they use one or two, AI generated images, and people started, calling for boycotts. Now, I would never boycott it. I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I want to support it. But it's a conversation that we have to have because right now it's one image. Then the next movie that's two. Then it's three. Then we're outsourcing entire departments. And like I said, our podcast is one thing, but we're talking about an industry that's already collapsing on itself, and half the jobs that were always available at any given time are now gone and maybe never coming back. It becomes scarier and scarier.
Well, and the other thing to think about is then you're going to have the conversation from the artist side of saying, we didn't have the budget to make those shots. Like, how are we supposed to deliver our artistic vision without that?
Yeah.
Which is a legitimate side. It's a legitimate conversation.
And I think AI should eliminate redundancy. It should help in the creation of things. It should be used, but AI generation, music or images, there's no place for it. And sadly, if you can't make it happen with your people, it shouldn't be made. Yeah. And I understand.
I'm on your side.
It's like when the iPhone came out and people were able to make a movie with an iPhone. People never would have the resources to make a movie, and how great that is, and how all of a sudden people have a voice who never had a voice. I understand it, but
But think about it also. So I swear to God, I'm not being obtuse or a dick on purpose. I really want to have the discussion because I'm curious about it. But
Philip K. Dick.
with any new advent of technology, especially when it is applied to cinema or television, there are these discussions. They've happened every time that a leap in the medium has been made. Half of this conversation we're having right now is the same conversation when CGI started to take over practical effects.
No, absolutely not. That's an absolutely bullshit comparison.
Bad faith.
That you were taking something, like taking the idea of implementing technology, computer technology, that has been augmented by artists, and then actually put onto celluloid, is something way different than that celluloid being generated almost on its own.
Cavemen used charcoal to make cave drawings, and then oil paint was invented. Is you going to draw a comparison there?
My comparison is that the advent of CGI took away a lot of jobs for artists that were doing things practically, whether it was pyrotechnics or puppetry or props. There are huge industries that were decimated when CGI became the cheaper way to be, and sometimes safer way to do it.
I don't know if it did though. That's like
Henson Company's doing the same amount of shit that they were doing before CGI. No.
Well, no, but the more apt comparison is like going from like coal mining to clean energy, right? Those jobs are lost. But then there's a whole,
learn the
new job. Learn the new job. Learn how to do CGI, and then you can have a job.
Do you know how many computer and graphic engineers, graphic designers there are right now?
I was literally just bringing up the fact that there was a shift in.
God damn it, Matt!
I'm gonna say that there are the people that were in the industry doing those jobs at the time don't find this as flippant. Right, of losing their job and just being, well, other people got jobs, so it's fine. Like, I guess we got to grow up and learn the new shit. But it was the same. There was a group of people that are going, why are we being replaced by computers and a bunch of people that they can outsource in India that costs less than us to make a fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle suit versus doing it on a computer?
And they're totally fine to feel that way. But the problem why you can't compare it to AI is now nobody is getting a job. Like, the job stops. It's not the industry.
Someone is
now that job is literally.
Someone is still making and tweaking that AI to make it work. None of this shit is being done.
But when it's time
they're not literally just making an
generating
AI
content.
Yes.
Matt, it's generating content, not helping artists create content. It's creating it for them.
If they don't have someone scoring their movie, and they have someone use an AI machine to do it, and they have someone then tweak or re-record or however they're doing with it. Obviously, I'm listening to AI shit here, and maybe they have access to better shit. None of this stuff is producible. I couldn't just fucking make this our thing without actually having to re-record it and use artists to do it. So my question is always, what amount of sugar is being put on top of these things to make them presentable? Because they're not just putting it into a computer, they are having to augment it. It's impossible for them to get exactly what they want just by putting in a prompt. They are absolutely collaborating with graphic artists, with musicians, with whoever it is to get their jumping off point and to do it.
I think you're assuming that that's happening a lot more than the people utilizing AI just to generate something and put it out there.
I do not think anyone is typing it in and it's popping this thing out fully formed. I don't think it's happening.
Matt, right now, yes. In a year,
that you could be correct.
The goal is I am correct because we saw it happen with image generation, and we saw it with video generation. It is literally inevitable, and that is the goal. The goal is to, at one point, we get so many users making songs for their podcast that the algorithm is fed until it's ready to unleash 2.0, and then we won't need anyone to sweeten it. We won't need to bring in musicians to re-record parts because it was a little tinny, or vocalists to re-record because they mispronounced a word, or it's not. Eventually, the goal is that it's perfect out of the box, and by defending it now, it makes that reality possible. And that's why, you look at AI porn deepfakes, you look at image generation, you look at video generation, all of that needs to be regulated yesterday.
Yeah,
and that's the scary part. Nothing's happening. People are having their fun.
That I agree with.
And it's going to get out of control. Right now is like the first night of Jurassic Park, where everything's awesome. Look, dinosaurs. Cool.
And that's the moral part of the argument, I think, as well. I mean, obviously we have an obligation, I think, to from an industry standpoint, to protect people who do certain jobs, because we need to make sure, if we are using AI, we're using it in the way that Matt's saying, where we're using it to do some sort of integration of imagery, and there needs to be some
sort of... It should eliminate redundancy.
It
should help
exactly.
people.
So some sort of checks and balances. But on the other side, on my own personal side, it's just fucking lazy.
Yeah.
It's fucking lazy. Like,
yeah.
And it fucking irks me. It really does. And it's like,
it took me a month to write Shrimp Hands. A month!
And yours was better. That month proved to be
barely.
That month proved to be a better use of time.
I didn't even hear the end part where it went into the horn fanfare, so it might be better.
I would like to say I actually wrote the entirety of the interview in the Vampire musical faster than that song generated. So
well, Ben, can I tell him now? So Ben actually wrote all of the lyrics for all of the songs you've heard tonight. We just wanted to pretend like AI did that, but that was Ben wrote them, and we just had it. We fed it in there just to have it sing it shitty. But Ben actually owns the copyright on all of those lyrics. So congratulations, Ben.
You're losing your touch, Benny.
How dare you? Wait a minute. I don't know who I'm mad at right now.
but here's the other thing, Matt. Like, I would be remiss. I can sit on my high horse, but I can guarantee you that I have made more songs with more accounts than you have tenfold. So, like, I hate myself. It's like eating the whole box of Oreos, and then the Oreos are gone. You're like, well,
let's Nick, and to prove right, Nick wrote this song.
But those Oreos are so tasty.
Nick wrote this song during this podcast, and here it is.
Lucy and Jessica, what a sight to see, dancing through town, so wild and free. What did they get to eat? Did they go all night? The mystery of their love, keeping us uptight. Lucy's got the moves, Jessica's got the sway. They're breaking all the rules, say the cartoonish way. But did they cross that line? Did they get down low? The rumors flying around, but we may never know. Skag and stumble, twist and shout. Goofy and Jessica, what's that all about? Skag and stumble, shake and groove. Did they get busy, or are we all just fooled?
all right, well, stop.
Yes.
All right, that's good.
Okay.
I
thought
write
it was
a
a
ska
weird
song.
Did you say as Weird Al? Because that
No.
sounds like a Weird Al ska song.
No, it's ska.
It sounded
It's
like
called
him
Skank-
singing weird. It sounded like Weird Al singing ska.
It's called The Skank and Stumble. And maybe not a great title this time around, but like in terms of like it nailed it with a very minimal prompt. Very minimal.
So it started with first asking if Tom Hanks and Pig came, and now we're asking
Yes.
if
Not if he came, if he had
Yeah.
sex. We know he came.
Well, it's the
we
same
all agreed
concept.
that he came. That's the one thing
don't
we
agree
can
on
all,
that. We don't
one
agree on
thing
that.
we can agree on is that he finished. We don't know where and how he finished. That's
I
the
didn't
question.
agree with that. I've never said that.
Yes, you did. You said that he blew up before he
It
could
could
get
be.
in.
It could be a possibility
that was Ryan.
that I could accept, but I don't believe that.
So you think no nut?
I don't know.
Oh.
No nut. I don't know.
No
Man. At this point, I don't know.
no Nut Hanks.
I will say the where we will find
Shimmy Cocoa.
where we find the full like apex of all of this is that at some point I will feed an AI system all 223 episodes of The New Way and tell it to produce a
One
brand
ska
new produce a brand new way
Yeah.
in our voice,
do it.
and we're gonna find out what it can do. And if it can, then it becomes personal for me. But right now, it doesn't affect me.
Let's see. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Just
right?
being a dick.
I'm not pretending to be half the musician that Ben is. That's why I was shocked when he's like, I'm kind of indifferent. I am.
Which he's not.
I am,
Which you've proven you're not actually very
well,
indifferent.
true.
I was kind of joking on that.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Right, but like it does hit really close to home.
Sure.
For artists out here who then would strike and say we're not coming off the picket line unless there's a clause for
Why did you
AI.
thumbs up me on that? What was that?
I didn't. The Zoom saw my thumb, and it kind of looked like thumbs up, and then it doesn't. Does it?
It was so poorly timed.
The AI saw his thumb. And was
Fucking
like,
AI.
Actually,
Fucking AI.
Nick was like, my industry is suffering right now. And Zoom was like, yeah. Way to go, buddy.
Wait, hold on. See if it does this. I'll put my thumb down. There we go.
Oh, it does. Wait, I don't think I have this technology.
You have to hold it. You have to hold it.
I am holding it.
he does not have this enabled.
It's not working. No, I don't have whatever this is.
Nothing for the middle finger.
Apparently,
though.
my Zoom AI has been disabled because I believe in showing up to meetings as me. Just saying.
Well, and anyway, Matt, I did send you something. A friend, our dear friend of the podcast, Frank McGrath,
Yes.
was helping out someone with a setup, kind of running some tests for a potential podcast, a video podcast, and it mostly edited the episode. So they filmed and they talked for about 10 minutes, and with like a 3-camera setup, right? And then it put it all together, and it edited it down to 30 seconds, and it was
Yeesh.
cohesive
Yeesh.
and tight.
That is
And it showcased Frank's like very specific sense of humor by going to a close when he did something silly and then coming back to the wide to inform like what he was picking up from the ground. It is see that again is going to be taking away jobs because why pay an editor to do that?
This is the next like kind of question in the logic of all of this stuff going. Guys, I honestly am not on the other side of you. I'm just this is more.
You watch
of an
your
interest-
fucking mouth.
Just an interesting question to have. So you brought up a really good point earlier in terms of Disney using AI for a multi-billion-dollar show that's going on their network versus an indie film that might not otherwise be able to afford to have a soundtrack or a professional editor or whatever it is, and they have a fucking dream and $2 and they just want to make a movie and they're going to use this to patch the things that they can't afford to do, right? And you look at so where does it fall to the creatives on this, and what is our barometer, right? Like, when are you so poor and you're just trying to do something and get it done, and you have to rely on this because you have to rely on it. It is the only way you can get it done. Versus you have enough money that you should be spending it to make it better.
Maybe you could make a regulation where like you disclose a budget, and if you're at a certain level and you disclose it to everyone
Yeah.
who signs on to the project, so that everyone who's on the project knows that AI generation will be used. Perhaps that
It should be almost
could
like
pave way to a
like a
compromise,
deduction.
but
Like you
I
have
still
you can't get it with
A fucking
still
disclaimer.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
film has been modified. It
Yeah.
has been formatted to fit your screen, and the robots made it.
I mean,
not the whole thing, but
know,
I mean,
okay.
I read, or maybe the TikTok or something where someone said, the future of art is going to be like stepping into your grocery store, and you have two packages. One is mass produced, and with preservatives, and the other is 100% organic, right?
yeah.
If you want to pay $2 for the cheap stuff, you could buy the synthetic, but you pay 4 times as much, and you get the premium ribeye cut, right? That could be like AI generated content, generated shows, generated movies, made by robots, and the organic, more expensive television shows, whether through streaming or ticket sales. That's the premium organic cuts come from human beings.
You just described literally the future of Star Trek food, where they have they have the machines that make all the synthetic food, and then every so often someone's like, "I grew this tomato in my garden." Everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's so good!" Like,
Well, that's going to be television shows now from now on. The thing is, it'll be like the AI stuff will be like a struggle meal. It'll be real cheap, but like a peanut butter and jelly, it'll get the job done in a pinch.
A struggle meal?
A struggle meal,
What
Matt.
is the
You never
struggle-
had.
What does that mean?
Well, wow, you really told on yourself
if,
there,
if
Matt.
a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a struggle
Let me-
meal, then I'm,
Listen, me and Ben were kings of the struggle meal in college.
Oh, you mean
struggle
you're poor to have? Yeah, I'm
No,
sorry,
no.
I didn't know what the phrase
No,
meant. It
no,
doesn't mean I never was poor enough where I had
No,
to
no,
eat
no,
fucking
no,
ramen and shit.
here
Oh,
is
you've had a struggle meal. You've had a struggle meal.
here is the thing.
Yellow rice out of that fucking pouch that you put in there that you could live off of for a goddamn week with some black beans. I fucking struggled, Nick. How dare you?
But first of all, the peanut butter and jelly should be omitted from the struggle meal because the peanut
Yeah.
butter and jelly is delicious, and you have start eating them.
And peanut butter's fucking expensive sometimes.
Yeah, peanut butter can also
is
be
now.
expensive.
Thanks,
No.
Joe Biden.
If you want to talk about a struggle meal, talk about 2 Gwaltney chicken franks sliced in half on one piece of white bread with a piece of American cheese melted over them. That's
And
a
Paul
struggle
Malls
meal.
for dessert.
And Paul Malls.
You rich fuckers. You're Paul Malls. Yeah,
Listen,
Wash them down with a steel reserve.
my favorite struggle meal was what I affectionately called the roll o' cheese, and it's just a tortilla with 2 pieces of American
Oh,
cheese.
2
You
pieces.
throw that-
Fucking money
yes,
bags over there.
I know. Throw that into the microwave for 30 seconds. Roll that baby up. You got yourself a
You got yourself a
a stew.
stew.
A stew cooking. Yeah.
You know, due to my limitations in my diet, I literally had that like last week.
Oh, listen, it's a classic. No matter.
Classics never
What-
go
And you
out of
know
style.
what?
Yeah.
It brought me right back.
I lived on a lot of yellow rice and pastas, whatever was on sale for like a BOGO of shit, and those were my quote unquote struggle meals. Now that I know what that fucking now I'm gonna write a song called Struggle Meals.
Also, if you you totally should. Can you make it an industrial goth
Ooh, I
struggle
like
meal?
that.
That would be great. Well,
Well, and
Brian Eno inspired, perhaps.
I'll make this for our Patreon, but I do think that Nick had me feed in my favorite prompt to the thing, and I won't play because we played too much shit in this tonight. But he had me feed in make an Oingo Boingo-esque song about how AI is not a threat to us and it should be trusted, and it wrote the best fucking song ever.
Because that is how you would finally get me on the side of the AI.
It was
if
good.
If GLaDOS fucked Danny Elfman and made a song, that's how I changed my
Well, it
tune.
wasn't even the tune. It was the tune aside. It was literally like, hey guys, hey buddy,
Hey,
we're just friends. We're just friends,
friends.
buddy. Don't worry about it.
You can trust us.
AI's here. We're here to stay. It's great. Come on, buddy. Get with the program. So I was curious to have the conversation. Obviously, you guys are in industries that are very, very much affected by this. My dumb optimistic side says that it will write itself and figure itself out and find a medium to make it work, and that there will always be room for original things out there. The Disney
listen,
that
man,
Disney
there's-
thing is what worries me the most. I'm not
Just
worried about
like-
indie films with shit.
just
I think
like-
that's
there
fine.
is
Any new industry, there needs to be regulation.
Yeah.
Like any new industry, as it emerges, you're going to find we've already seen what the major drawbacks and what the real recourse is from multiple industries. We're not just talking about the arts.
Oh yeah.
And so that's where there needs to be a real serious step forward on the regulatory side. And once we might over-regulate it first, and we might have to draw it back and find some sort of medium, but it has to happen.
And Matt, one more thing. I introduced you to a Facebook group called Crew Stories.
Yes, which I love.
That I believe
check
you
every
had a
day.
fun time
Yes.
with. And the purpose of that group for many years was just sharing stories. If Rick Moranis made the news, someone would put a post in the morning. Hey, anybody work on Ghostbusters? What was it like working with Moranis? And then someone would get a comment pinned and have this great story, and it's pretty awesome. Well, if you've frequented that group recently, it is quite different. Now the posts are.
Although they did just have a Rick Moranis one like a day ago.
They did. I know that's because I was consuming. But now that group is like more of a barren wasteland of people saying 30-year veteran here, selling my house and moving back to Ohio. Who's been a good run, everyone. I mean, post after post after post of like seriously 20, 25, 30-year veterans because there's no work. There is a darkly comical slogan right now floating around the industry. Do you know what it is? Survive till 25. Because when the strikes started, studios immediately, sensing kind of blood in the water and realizing the fight they were about to embark on, started stockpiling content and staggering its release. They used to be in the business of creating shows. There were always new shows, and they would roll it out throughout the year. And there were, parts of the year where more shows would come out than others, but they were a content machine. Now, only TikTokers are doing that. They are literally putting this aside. They're rationing it. They're saving it. And now, between reality TV and all the content that they are now locking in the literal Disney vault, they don't need anybody to make new shows until 2025. So everyone is literally, people who are 25-year vets are getting barista jobs like they just got here, fresh off the college boat. And that to me is why we shouldn't be optimistic, because yes, true artists will reject this, but the CEO of Warner Brothers, do you think he might get behind this technology if it means not paying people, because we learned that people will consume this stuff, and pretty soon we won't be as picky about a flub line or an AI imperfection. You know what I mean? It's just going to become standard, and that's what we have to look out for.
And I don't want to. This is a whole other subject to kind of go into, but something to think about maybe for a future podcast. Do you think so? Nothing's ever an issue until it's an issue for those people themselves. So I think one of the things that may happen that eventually the snake eats the tail, and at some point AI starts coming for their own intellectual property, but because there's no regulations over it and there's not a lot of things, can I produce my Michael Bay-esque Ninja Turtles movie and put it out there, and it's just an AI thing, but it's done better than the Michael Bay one, which isn't super hard to do. And now I've got this thing that goes out there, and it's just different enough to get past all of the other things. Now they go, oh well, shit.
Matt,
now we're fucked. So maybe we should regulate this.
We are going to long for the days of Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made by human beings in 15 years. And I will say, those movies are not half bad.
The second one's okay. The first one's very bad.
They really
the
are.
Second one's kind of fun.
The character designs are frightening and ill-conceived, but everything else works with those movies outside of Megan Fox.
You're right. No, we watched that second one together. It was a good movie.
We did.
Yeah, I obviously the two people I would most want to have this conversation with is you guys. So I appreciate the insight from your industry, and we'll see. By the way, this entire podcast was done by AI. This is not actual Matt talking. Sponsored by artificial intelligence. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't have an answer for it. It's fun on this side of things at the low level that we have the low stakes, but yeah.
I think just a way to end this is movies like Late Night with the Devil that are not big studio movies. We need to support those movies, especially when they are good, when they deliver. Like everyone is saying that it is. But we can't shy away from having this conversation even casually with our friends. Like it's a conversation that literally everyone should be having. Parents, grandparents. It's not over their pay grade. It is important that we all, when we see AI, we recognize it. When we hear of a movie that uses it, that we push back. Because if we don't do it now, it'll be too late.
I wonder if artists will start to step up to bridge that. Like, so if I'm an artist right now out there, I'm a composer, and I read this story about this movie, and I'm like, fuck, I don't like this. I don't like they're doing it. I'm gonna pro bono write some music for them. It's not gonna be my best fucking shit. It's not gonna be the whatever it is, but I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna offer you a real score for this movie because I make enough money and I've made my career elsewhere. And it's gonna have to be heavy hitters to step up that can afford to do that and say like, or that will fund like, hey, we're gonna give you money to hire a composer. Here's somebody that's new and up and coming, and we're gonna let you re-edit your movie with this stuff because we don't want the AI to win.
Even 5 years from now, AI is never going to be able to replicate, say a Danny Elfman. AI can't use a crush that a high school girl had on him against her when she enters the industry, and then use it to sexually harass them. It can only create music.
Wow.
God, that's the fucking darkest end who could possibly come up with this.
Actually,
episode.
you know what? I found one good thing about AI music.
Listen.
It can't groom people.
What I'm going to allow is I'm going to allow AI to only do movies that would have been done by Brett Ratner, and that way we save women from being like molested, and the movie's going to be shitty anyway.
Or Bryan Singer,
and
Bryan
AI
Singer
can
too.
do a Brett Ratner movie. Tell me AI can't write fucking 10 Rush Hours in 1 minute. Like it's easy. So we'll just replace shitty people with AI and move on. That's
Fair
it.
enough.
That's the
all right.
guy,
I'm on board,
guys.
All right,
we did it.
We did it.
We fucking did it. Good for us.
In record time.
I want to thank you all for listening to this episode of New Wave Podcast. We're back with new episodes throughout the summer as time permits. We'll talk to you next time. Cheers.
cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for listening.